Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Dead End, Paranormal Park Episode 1. So, this is interesting. Obviously, we just finished Spy Series as you're watching this, but I'm recording this before I even recorded Episode 10 of Spy Family. Well, Episode 10 and 11, since I'm doing those two together. So, I didn't want to wait to get to this, basically. Because this series came out of nowhere, but I'm very excited about it. So, Dead End Paranormal Park is, I guess, based off of a comic. I think it's a web comic, but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% on that. But I've never heard of it. Up until, like, I don't know, a few weeks ago, maybe? When all of a sudden I saw on Twitter there was a trailer. It's like, oh, coming soon, new show to Netflix. And it's like, what is this? So I watched the trailer and it's like, okay, it's starting off, it's like, ooh, spooky, scary stuff, really, paranormal, horror-based content. And it's like, oh, this looks good. And then the trailer went into more of a goofy context. It started to get really goofy and silly, and it's like, okay, now I'm concerned. It's like, it doesn't look necessarily bad, but it looks like it could be bad. You know what I mean? It's like, there are certain aspects of what it was showing in like the second 2/3 of the trailer that it's just, it started to get a little questionable. And I was really worried about it. Because it's like the first third of the trailer looked really fucking good. Like, really fucking good. But then it just kind of took a little bit of a dive. And I know that it's like trailers aren't always the best representative of a show or movie or game or whatnot. And that I should always try to judge it more based on itself. I understand that, and I'm going to. Trailers are supposed to give you a good view of what the media is about. It's supposed to get you hyped up and excited for the piece of media. And it's supposed to be representative of the show, movie, game, whatever. A lot of times it isn't, but it's supposed to be. Because I think the biggest issue is because they don't want to spoil too much in the trailers. They often have to make it almost that the trailer is just not that good in that regard. Like, you watch a trailer and it's like, this looks terrible. See the movie and it's like, this is amazing. Or vice versa. And sometimes you'll get a more accurate representation, like the Jurassic World Dominion trailer, which was like, oh, this looks like shit. This looks like it's going to bank entirely on the nostalgia and throw everything else to the wayside, and the story and characters and everything is going to suffer because of it. Hey, look, that's what happened. That is exactly what happened. The movie was terrible. But yeah, that's not often the case. With a lot of trailers, you won't get a fully accurate depiction of what the series or movie or whatnot's going to be about, or in terms of quality. You won't get a full depiction of that. You might get a hint, like, oh, this looks good, and it ends up being really fucking good, but it doesn't like give you a super accurate depiction. You know what I mean? That's all I'm trying to say with that. Nonetheless, I am still very excited for this because the main character of this, who I believe is named Barney, is a transgender male character. And I don't know any actual spoilers about the series or about the episodes or anything. I haven't like heard anything. I've seen on Twitter a couple people post about it, but the instant I saw like the pictures, I recognized the character and I'm like, nope, and just scrolled right on past before I could get spoiled on anything. So it's like I technically saw a couple screenshots, but only very briefly, and I didn't really pay any attention to them because I didn't want spoilers. But I do know, because I found out about this when I found out that the character is trans. I do know that there is actually at least part of the series that focuses on that. Like, it's not just like it's not like the creators like, oh, this character's trans, by the way, but the series never actually addresses that or anything. No, it's addressed in the series, from what I've heard. And I heard about this before the show was even released, so it was like something that was known about. It's not an actual spoiler really to anything. But yeah, the most I got from the trailer about like the plot is these, I assume, teenagers get a job at this like amusement park that looks like run down and everything, or they're applying for a job or something, and they end up meeting all these like paranormal ghosts and demons and stuff. There's this one demon who's really focused on, and they, I guess, get into all kinds of wacky paranormal shenanigans. That's kind of what I got from it. I also thought the girl sounded like Kate Micucci, but I think I checked to see if she was in it, and I don't think she is. So I guess it was just like, oh, she kind of sounded like her. But yeah, otherwise I don't really know anything going into this. But I've heard good things since it came out. I've heard people actually saying it's really good, and I've seen some praise for it, so that's always a good thing. I'm hoping to enjoy it as well. This is a Netflix series, so with how Netflix has been, who knows how far this is even going to go. Hopefully, if it does end up being really good, we don't get another glitch text situation where it just kind of dies, seemingly. I really hope Glitch Tech is able to get a final season, or at least a movie or something, just to wrap it up, because it left on a cliffhanger with season 2's finale. Like, we really need something more with that. But I'm hoping that it doesn't happen with this, because Netflix has been really bad about animation lately. They've canceled a lot of projects. They're taking away budget for a lot of projects. It's just terrible. And they've gotten reamed for it, and rightly so. I haven't heard anything about them backtracking on their thoughts on all of that and all, but they have been reamed for it. Of course, they've been getting reamed for a lot of things, to be fair. It's not even just that. There's a lot of things that they are fucking up with lately. And to be fair, big corporation, they only care about the bottom line. It's all they're focused on. So it's like they're not worried about whether or not they alienate their audience. As long as they still get that money, that's all they care about. Even if some of their decisions will make them lose money. But they're too dumb to realize that, because that's not in their projections and bullshit like that. But yeah, I as I said, I'm definitely excited to check this series out. Hoping it's going to be really good. Honestly, even though I don't necessarily think it will, or don't necessarily expect it to be, I do genuinely hope it's on the level of stuff like Owl House. Especially if the representation is that strong in this. Owl House is so phenomenal with not only the representation, but in general. So I kind of use that as a measuring stick nowadays. It's like, can this series be as good as Owl House? Let's hope, because believe me, I want everything to be as good as Owl House at this point. Owl House is definitely the bar that is being set. Granted, there's One Piece as well, but One Piece has been like that for like ever. Owl House is kind of the big current measuring stick. So, I'm hoping. I don't necessarily think it will be. I don't necessarily think it won't be, though. I don't know. I have no frame of context here. So, I'm hoping it'll be that good. But, as long as it's at least very good, that's important. So, we're going to see. We will check it out and hopefully enjoy it. So, for the time being, let's get into it. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. And I'm laughing because I looked up some of the cast for this because I wanted to know. I didn't look up any spoilers, but like the ones I know, first off, well, actually, there's only one that I actually know. The one I know is that Courtney is voiced by Emily Osment. Emily Osment, if you somehow don't know, is the sister of Haley Joel Osment, from I See Dead People fame, and he was in The Boys and other stuff as well. Emily Osment is known for playing Lily Truscott in Hannah Montana. She was my favorite character in Hannah Montana when I was watching that while growing up. She's also in the in the second and third Spy Kids movies. And I haven't heard practically anything from her in a long ass time. So it's wild to like see that she's back, I guess, in the spotlight in some way for this. Pauline Phoenix, I guess the actress or whatnot, who runs the park and everything, is played by a drag queen named Miss Coco Peru. So that's fun as well. I don't know the other names here offhand. But that's really interesting. This first episode was really interesting for a number of reasons. It wasn't like amazing or anything, but it definitely gave a good first impression. First off, the cold open was phenomenal. Like, I've mentioned it before, but I'm into horror. I'm especially into shows that aren't horror, delving into horror aspects. That's not the case here. This is very clearly a horror themed show in general. But this is very much giving me those same kind of vibes as shows like that do with the non-horror shows going horror for an episode or something. It gives me the vibes of something like Jack in the Haunted House or Abracadabra from Powerpuff Girls, both of which I've mentioned multiple times as being like some of the top examples of how to do horror in a non-horror series. It's kind of giving me those kind of vibes. So we have these characters, and we're introduced to them kind of back to back. We are our main two characters. Barney is a trans boy who I guess more recently came out because he was talking to his mother about seeing his grandmother or whatnot, and like he was even asking, it's like, does she know about me? And it's like, yeah, that's a definite thing you have to wonder about. Um, and I actually want to check real quick here on something. It says his actor is Zach Barak or Barak. I don't know the name, but I actually want to see like if the actor is like trans as well. Yes, he is. He is a transgender actor, singer, and comedian from Chicago. Ignore that. Apparently, he has a picture with the guy who plays Ned from Spider-Man. Like that popped up really quick. Wait, he was in Spider-Man? Because this is the same meet Spider-Man Zach Barak or again Barak. I'm not sure. Okay, now I'm curious. Was he in Spider-Man? Hold on, I have to find this out. Yeah, apparently he played a character named Zach in Spider-Man Far From Home. Huh. Must have been like a minor character, like a student or something. Um, Trying to see if there's a picture here. Yeah, there's a picture here with him with Zendaya. Or Michelle, MJ, whatever you want to call her. But yeah, okay. So I kind of assumed, based on what I've heard about the representation in this being really good, I kind of assumed that he was probably also voiced by a trans male, and seems to be the case. Cool, hell yeah. Um, he definitely seems like a very good portrayal in regards to the anxieties and fears about other people knowing, like even at the end when Norma invites him to like go out for tacos with her mother and grandmother and all. He's When he hears the grandmother part, like you can see him recoil, because a lot of people from that kind of generation don't understand and won't, and a lot of times for a lot of trans people it's very hard to even be around that, especially with the possibility of being misgendered, or in some cases, depending on the people, dead named as well. So it's a very tough situation, and so it felt like a very good portrayal in how it was handled. Norma is very hyper fixated, like she even uses that term in the series, but she also seems very anxious. It seems like she's a very pragmatic person and takes things very seriously, almost too seriously. But it also seems like she has a good heart and she's a good person. It's just there's clearly a lot of there's a lot going on there. You know what I mean? And I feel like her character will be explored in that regards going forward. And then kind of rounding out our trio of sorts, we have Courtney. Courtney is a demon who is mentioned in this episode to have been banished, I guess, from hell. That would be my assumption. And her goal is to get back to hell. So she is serving the Demon King, Temalucas, and put out this advertisement for, new hires in order to get Temalucas a body for him to possess. And through this, we get the entire plot of the episode with him possessing Pugsley on accident and them having to trick him into getting his picture taken in order for his soul to be captured and everything. Unfortunately, not all of it is, and at the end we see that Pugsley can still talk. So that's going to be interesting. That was one of the parts of the trailer I was really concerned about, because talking animal sidekick characters very often don't work. So we'll have to see how it goes. There's some good humor in this. Nothing really that great yet, but it's the first episode. They're doing a lot of setup and everything. So we kind of have to wait and see. But yeah, a really interesting setup. I'm definitely invested to see more. There's, I believe, 10 episodes, at least for this season. I don't know if there's going to be another season. Who knows with Netflix? But at least for now, there's 10 episodes. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be really good. Hopefully. At least it looks like it has the potential to be really good. So I'm definitely going to continue giving this a shot, and at least with the representation, I can definitely say it definitely knocked that out of the park right quick. Like that really, like, even just from this first episode, where it didn't delve into it too much, but it very clearly understood. I don't know the webcomic or whatever this is based off of. Let me actually check to see exactly what it is. I keep saying like comic or webcomic or whatnot, but I don't know for sure. I don't know. Let me see. Graphic novels. Okay. There is a web short as well. There is apparently a web short. This was created by Hamish Steele originally. Okay. So that's interesting for a number of reasons. That definitely implies that they could get away with a lot more. And like I said before, with it being on Netflix, they could probably get away with a lot more than, obviously, network TV. We're going to have to see. I don't think this is going to be, like, super mature or anything. No. But they could get away with some mature topics and jokes and all that, again, they wouldn't be able to otherwise. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to Courtney some more though, because it's like I wonder if I can hear Emily Osment in the voice, or if like she's putting on too much of like a voice to really recognize her. Because I wasn't thinking about it going into this, so it's like I wasn't listening for that, but maybe I'll be able to hear it. I don't know. We'll see. But in the meantime, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this first episode of Dead End Paranormal Park? And by the way, I forgot to mention this at the beginning when I talked about how this is replacing Spy Family. Obviously, Spy Family was a first impressions reaction series slot, whatever you want to say. This is not, clearly. We're taking a break because I want to make sure I get to this. After this series, we'll be going back to doing first impressions in this slot. So it's just for the time being, just while we get to this series, because I wanted to get to this series. We'll be going back to first impression stuff after this. So just as a note, that's why this is replacing Spy Family, of all things. I wanted to make sure I could get to this, and this was the best slot I could come up with for where to put it and all. Originally, Spy Family was going to be replaced by something else, but that one ended up moving to a different slot, to Obi-Wan finishing. That one was replaced by the return of Ghost and Molly McGee. That was originally going to take over for Spy Family, but timing worked out different than I initially thought, so switch things around a little. Although Ghost and Molly McGee would actually have worked better out in this slot, you know? Because Ghost of Molly McGee was a first impressions. Now that I think about it, I might have messed that up a little bit. But that does mean there are still 2 first impression slots on the channel, doesn't it? I guess it works out. I guess it works out anyway. Okay, it's just things moved around a little bit. That was unintentional, but okay. Like I said, tell me what you thought of this episode, this first episode of Dead End Paranormal Park. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.